Happy birthday to Doom Eternal, the greatest first-person shooter of all time. Yeah, I said it. And what are you gonna do about it? In August of 2022, I first booted up Doom 2016 after hearing about it for years, particularly from Spartan Guy, and finally deciding to give it a go, and I adored it. It quickly became tied for my favorite first-person shooter of all time. Then I played Doom Eternal immediately afterward, and after learning how to actually play the game, it became one of my favorite games of all time, and that's coming from a gamer who doesn't really like first-person shooters as a rule of thumb. The blistering paced gunplay with a focus on mobility, constant weapon switching and tool usage was seriously engaging to both learn and master, and to this day I still get better every time I practice. Of course, this was all coming off of the truly awesome base game of 2016, which was revolutionary by itself. I'll refrain from going too much further into a game review because I have plans for the future, but for now, we have one aspect in particular to rave and rant about: the boss fights. Obviously, in a game series about fighting big, strong demons, there'll be epic battles with the biggest, strongest demons of all. There are only 11 bosses in the modern franchise, not a lot to get through, and some of these aren't even traditional boss fights, but hey, this is a more complete ranking, and it lets the video go on for a little bit longer. So, let's see if this small quantity is filled with eternal quality. Anyways, enough talking. Let's rip and tear. First off, we're starting with one of the worst bosses in the entire history of first-person shooters, and in fact, all of gaming. Number 11 is the Marauder, because he's a piece of shit and he's too fast and he killed me so many times and the shield is bullshit and I hate the dog and he stole my lunch money and he beat me up and he... No, we're not doing that. The actual number 11 is the Trial of Malagog, or as I call it, the Mega Blocks. This boss is 4 Rubik's Cubes, one, then another one, then 2, and they all fly around the arena, opening periodically. You shoot the glowy orbs in the middle of them over and over until they eventually drop, and then you can punch the crates into the shield. Do that to all 4 of them over the course of 3 phases, and you win, while managing all the other demons spawned around the arena. That's it. That's literally it. It's a fun trial, a cool way to cap off a great level, but there is no way this simple of a fight can be considered anything but the worst boss, or rather, the least good. Number 10, the Doom Hunters. This is a little bit of an odd case, because the Doom Hunters are arguably not even a boss. I mean, they get a whole level's worth of build-up, an introductory cutscene, a health bar, and are treated like a boss, but are quickly reduced to a standard enemy a few levels later on. But hey, if we can put flying gamecubes on the list, we can certainly put these guys. The Doom Hunters come as a double threat, consisting of both the organic body and a tiny tank they float around in. They have energy shields around their bodies that can be only destroyed by plasma weapons, which will allow you to do damage with anything until the shield recharges over time. Generally, you'll have enough damage to one-cycle this enemy, so don't worry about a tedious boss fight. Of course, you can just skip the shield by attacking the sled directly. A well-placed blood punch will almost instantly cripple the tank, or at least get it close, and a few more shots will break it, seeing as the tank is not protected by the shield. Seems a bit of an oversight there. The boss then loses its protection and becomes more aggressive, but at this point it's far too late. You're way too mobile with way too much damage output, and the glory kills are, well, glorious. Their attacks generally consist of lock-on missiles and laser beams, or at least those are the only notable ones I've seen. It's certainly threatening, but if you focus on the Doom Hunter itself, it can't really do much to you. If I limit my view to strictly their boss encounter, then it's a pretty great fight. You fight one, then jump down into a larger arena to take on 2 at once, which was definitely the right call because one of these is not enough to be a credible boss fight. Really, that's the easiest way to sum up this battle. It's a great mini-boss, but a below-average boss fight for Doom standards. But in defense of their difficulty, these guys were created specifically to hunt the Doomslayer, and yet their entire species is extinct. That's fucking metal. But in any case, they're a good fight, and a good warm-up to get us into this list properly. Number 9, the Seraphim. Right, the first proper boss battle on this list, and it's one that I have to swallow my pride on. One of the 2 main reasons the Seraphim is down this low is because he is hard. Ridiculously hard. He took me an hour to defeat on normal mode for my first victory, at least including the before and after cutscenes. Since then, I have fought him more on normal mode and never once taken a flawless victory, losing a whole bunch of extra lives in the process because of this angelic bastard. Does the difficulty frustrate me? Yes, but I'm willing to count that as a skill issue for the most part, even if I feel some aspects of this fight are overtuned. The other reason he's down low? Well, let's talk about that. The first phase is you kicking old Sammy Hayden's teeth in, and it's pretty fun. He dashes around the arena through teleports and stops to shoot you with random bullshit go. Your job is to time when he's stopped in place to get in your damage, usually over top of his attacks. He also summons balls to attack you. Break those, they're a serious pain in the ass. The second phase is where the issues begin. He summons a Mancubus and a Hell Knight and empowers them both with spirits. If you don't know what those are, they're steroids for Doom Eternal enemies. The phase ends not through damaging Hayden, but through killing both the spirit minions. This is annoying because 1. Spirit enemies are damn tough, 2. There's 2 of them at once, and 3. This is just fighting standard enemies, not exactly what I come to a boss battle for. Phase 3 is a game of kill Cacodemons and dodge lasers over a bottomless pit. This is like Chef Saltbaker's third phase. It lasts not long at all, and I wonder what the point of it is. Only this is longer and actually frustrating. The fourth phase is the first phase again, but with more arena to maneuver around, far more demons to kill, and billions of projectiles to dodge. Thankfully, this is probably the best part of the fight, the best blend of challenge and entertainment the fight presents. The Bloodmakers really make things difficult, but using the aerial slowdown rune makes them a lot easier to one-shot. The final phase is where 99% of my frustration comes from. It's another Spirit Summon phase. Great. But this time he summons a fucking Dread Knight and Pain Elemental. Let's recap. A Dread Knight and Pain Elemental with increased stats and no weaknesses. Plus Bloodmakers, plus lasers, plus orbs that shoot slow down lightning at you, plus an arena that they can sneak up on you in, plus the fact you're already drained from 4 previous phases of fighting. This is brutally tough, my least favorite part of the fight, and it caused me so many deaths the first time around. The majority of my hour-long first try was spent here. Ultimately though, Stockholm Syndrome is real, and while it can't make the fight a great one, the satisfaction I get after beating this battle, and getting better at it with every replay, is very real. It's the hardest challenge in modern Doom, and one of my hardest challenges in gaming in general. And despite all the flaws, I do think it's a good fight, just not as good as the majority of this list. Number 8, the Spider Mastermind. Now let me clear something up. From this point out, every boss is at least an 8 out of 10. Yes, I'm being serious. We're already at that level of excellence and we're only 4 bosses in. What these guys lack in quantity, the designers make up for in quality by the truckload. And speaking of truckload, look at the amount of damn grey matter this bitch is packing. Out here making Brainstorm look like the average Twitter user. Unfortunately, despite the cranial capacity, she lacks the idea to run away in fear of the Doomslayer, because that giant brain is just screaming, "Shoot me, I'm a weak point." Not that the spider will make it easy for you to sit there and blast away. She peppers you with projectiles, spinning lasers, and even grenades, requiring a lot of ducking and diving to remain unscathed, all while you need to keep your aim in check. If you are worrying about running out of ammo, don't. Bosses in Doom 2016 periodically drop ammo as you do damage, plus there's a lot of items in the small arena, including BFG shots. The second phase adds in these brief platforming segments, requiring you to get up on pillars away from the electrified floor, but not too long after that the pillars will have spikes bursting out, forcing you off and doing damage. It's a pretty sneaky switch up, and it's a little hard to narrow down the timing between the floor becoming safe and the pillars becoming pokey. The final phase is this big doofus shooting every laser it can to try and stop you, but the health bar is nearly empty by this point, so in the words of Doom, shoot it until it dies. The story significance added on by this boss being Olivia Pierce, the person responsible for the entire mess you just fought your way through, adds on extra cathartic satisfaction. My biggest detractor about this fight is that it takes a while, and I don't think the boss is mechanically deep enough to be fully entertaining all the way through, but that's not a huge issue. The BFG finisher is a savage conclusion to this very good boss, which itself is a fun conclusion to this brilliant game, and a worthy entry to ease us into the catalogue of excellence that is the top 8 bosses. Number 7, the Hellguards. Initially, I struggled a lot with the Hellguards, and didn't find them very fun. Their shields threw me for a loop as I struggled to get the timing down, and I got smacked about a bit. To elaborate further, the first phase has the Hellguard be constantly shielded, only able to be hit during and briefly after their attacks. Imagine that as a concept. They charge towards you with swipes or a mighty jump attack followed by an A&E, or it peppers you with powerful ranged blasts that require a bit of a charge up. The Hellguard maintains a constant pressure on you, and it's your job to maneuver around and attack it during its vulnerable moments. If you shoot the big projectile orb right before it fires, you'll actually reflect it back into the Hellguard for a nice damage opportunity and some health back. The fight evolves as you kill it further, with vertical wave attacks launched at you and spinning fireballs all around the arena, capped off by this man turning into a Beyblade, spinning right around and shooting plenty of fire, with a devilish switch up halfway through. Don't worry, you can avoid this by walking. Phase 2 brings double the trouble, except this time there's no shields, and it's an all-out 2v1 brawl. One is the mage, one is the melee, and they use mostly the same attacks with all the same stun opportunities. The only new attack I saw was one involving the mage lifting the melee with magic, but I never let them pull this attack off. Coming back to rematch the Hellguards after Doom Eternal was infinitely easier than the first time around. That game has a lot of fights that rely on your careful attack timings and counters, meaning that these guys weren't as alien to me as they once were, and my increased experience led to far higher damage output via quick swapping weapons. The Gauss Cannon was looking at my super shotgun like, "Hi, shoot around here often?" I also found the boss a lot more fun thanks to this new perspective as well, so the Hellguards are alright by me. It's also worth noting that even during the phase where there's 2 enemies at once, it never feels unfairly hectic, a mark of credit to the developers for good gank boss design. Take notes, Japan. This boss is a unique fight that definitely adds some flavour into the last stretch of this brilliant game, and I give it full credit for that. Number 6, the Marauder. Well, I bet many of you guys weren't expecting to see him this high up. Or maybe you were, because this isn't 2020 and we all know how to beat the Marauder by now. Come on guys, it was never that hard. Though, that's not to say the Marauder isn't challenging. This is one of the only demons in the game that can actively keep up with the Doomslayer, dashing and running around the arena just as fast as you do. They attack either with a shotgun blast at close range, a laser beam from the axe at far range, or a melee axe attack, and the last one is your window of opportunity. The Marauder is protected by a shield that they can deploy in a nanosecond, guarding them against any attack short of Berserk mode. However, right before an axe melee attack, their eyes will flash green and that's your window of opportunity. Shoot them with a heavy weapon, stun them, you get a small window to stack damage, rinse and repeat until you get one of 4 awesome glory kills. Simple enough, so what's the problem? Well, doing this is pretty challenging. Again, this guy moves very quickly, you need to be at a certain range for them to do their special axe attacks, and he is invincible every other moment of his existence. In addition, if you do shoot the shield, the Marauder summons Clarence, the medium-sized orange demonic bloodhound, to come and consume your soul. The dog is a separate enemy. It hits hard, but dies if you so much as look mean in its general direction. All of these factors together make the Marauder a true force on the battlefield to be reckoned with, and sometimes the game will even throw 2 of them at you at once. However, I find the challenge from them fun and engaging. You get told how to beat them at the start of the boss encounter. It's a unique challenge amongst the demons of Doom Eternal, and they just look badass. Calling the Marauder a boss is questionable, but with an opening cutscene like this one, and considering how I already included the Doom Hunters and the Mega Blocks, how could I not? It's a well-balanced enemy that tests your limits. The Ancient Gods 2 even adds in a new effect when you hit the Marauders, a stun circle above their head, showcasing just how much time you have to attack them, which I think is a welcome change to the game. And that's not even mentioning what the Sentinel Hammer will do to them. Put simply, I enjoy fighting the Marauders, even when there's 2, and that's why they're this high up on the list. Number 5, the Khan Maker. From here on out, the gap between the bottom half of this list and these top 5 is huge, and the Khan Maker kicks things off with a high quality showdown with a main antagonist. Her actual attack style and mechanics remind me a lot of the Seraphim. A handful of floating balls, moving around the arena by flight, and largely being safe from your close range weapons, though Khan is a lot more stationary than Seraphim and has a few more forms of attacks, such as large lasers from the sky. Your job is to shoot her down from range, then meet hook up and blood punch her in the face like a badass. Repeat 6 times and you win. On the one hand, doing the exact same mechanic for 6 phases makes this fight a bit repetitive. On the other hand, it's a fun challenge the whole way through, so I'll allow it. The arena is well designed to let you dash around the Khan Maker, getting new angles for attacks or catching your breath behind cover. Around the arena are several respawning Maker drones, where one headshot will cause them to erupt out ammo and health, giving you free resources in exchange for a little bit of precision, a great aspect of the battle. The biggest factor to your success in this fight are the weapons you use. The best choices are obviously the lock-on rockets, because DPS go burr, or the Arbalest Ballista, because of the aerial damage bonus, plus Khan Maker is stationary enough to let you land it consistently. These weapons, especially used in combination, can shred her health bars with ease, which is important because if you don't do enough damage to her in a short amount of time, she will begin to regenerate her shields. The hardest part of this battle is the floor is lava aspect. Maker will make certain spots of the arena damaging to stand in as indicated by a red glow and some lightning, and this is a substantial amount of damage too. During the final phase, there's only a couple of spots in the arena that will remain safe to stand, meaning that deliberate positioning and movement is more vital than ever, especially under pressure. I found Maker to be a pretty cool villain in this story, and I am a big fan of the Doom lore, so striking down the Moth Pope will always be a fun time for me, hence why she's up here in the top 5. Number 4, the Gladiator. Doom Eternal's answer to the Cyber Demon from 2016, the Gladiator delivers a tense fight with a powerful opponent in a small arena. You even get 2 phases for double the trouble. The first phase revolves around you revolving around the Gladiator as he cowers behind a giant shield. He'll pop his head out to attack with his weapon, and you need to blast him during this small window. Doom Eternal seems to put quite the emphasis on counterattacks. The shield can also fire forward a phantom face as a projectile, so keep your eyes on the entire boss, not just his mace. Mobs will spawn around the arena, but they're necessary in order to refill your resources, and there's not very many threatening demons that I've seen spawned around during my fights, so I don't see this as a huge problem. Once you've whittled down the Gladiator's first health bar, you'll break the shield, and he'll break out the dual wielding. He now attacks with far more frequent ranged mace strikes, counterable charge attacks, and even locking you into a narrow corridor to play jump rope, though he's an open target for damage during this period, with my preferred weapon of choice being the mobile turret, or the lock-on rockets. Hurting him enough or countering his moves can also open him up for a glory stun, a free chunk of damage off his health and some extra health back for you. The shield is fully gone, so now your job is to circle around the arena, dashing and countering his moves and pouring on every bit of firepower you can muster, seeing as he lacks any sort of protection. The epic finishing sequence is the cherry on top of the cake that is this damn fun battle. Number 3, Devoth, the Dark Lord. Coming onto the podium positions, we have the final boss of the franchise, Satan. Or God. Or Satan God, or you. Or are you him? I don't know, the lore is a little vague on that. But this is the Dark Lord, the being responsible for everything. All the loss and pain the Doom Guy has suffered, the man who caused it is standing right in front of you in a sick robot suit, and it's time for the two of you to brawl. The story significance behind this moment bumps it up several spots on the list by itself, but a fight is obviously more than just the lore behind it. So how is it mechanically? To sum up the fight in an overly simple way, Devoth is a super marauder. Therefore, your opinion on the marauder will likely determine your opinion on this boss. He attacks with his crucible sword, and occasionally there will be one attack that flashes green, meaning you need to blast him during it to cause a stun and lay on a few shots in this short time. That time can be extended by using the most powerful tool in your arsenal, the Sentinel Hammer. This thing is straight busted. It extends his stun duration long enough to actually hit him with decent damage. It's a fun challenge I find, switching up your weapon usage and tools and variety of attack styles to maximize damage in a small window like this. The only downside I'll note is how, if he doesn't do the attack for a long period, the frustration can build a little. But careful distance management will more often than not cause him to open himself up, letting you unleash hell. No pun intended. In the meantime, Devoth will swing at you with normal sword swings and summoning this ghost wolf similar to the Marauder. It dies in a moment and also drops half of a Sentinel Hammer recharge, meaning between them and the zombies around the arena, keeping your hammer usage available is easy and required. The Dark Lord will punish mistakes in timing by healing if you get hit with the sword or if you blast his automatic shield, requiring careful patience. Phase 2 takes you to a hell-consumed part of Earth, and then the Dark Lord will expand on his arsenal, with grenades, a charging shield bash, and 2 Spirit Wolves this time, which does mean you can refuel your entire hammer at once with a simple microwave beam blast, though any weapon can work as well. 2 phases later and an awesome lore dump, revealing Devoth to in fact be the true creator, and then we're at the Temple of Souls for the final showdown. Quicker attacks, more grenades and sword slashes, greater healing, projectile pot shots, Devoth isn't messing around anymore. He summons a horde of spirit demons to fight you, that if left unchecked will destroy you in seconds, but they die either to a single BFG shot or the famous hammer. There's also now a Hell Knight spawned with our favourite hammer fuel wolves, but he dies to the hammer or a couple SSG blasts just as quickly as any other phantom demon. At this time in the fight, keeping on top of your resources and taking down Devoth in a quick manner is crucial. Whenever I've gotten into a battle of attrition with him, I've gotten in serious trouble, though that is mainly limited to ultraviolence and nightmare. but with enough doomslaying, you'll finish off the Dark Lord's health bar. Evidently, Doomslayer wants to savor this moment. He has been working towards this for eons. To finish off his ultimate adversary, the man behind all of his suffering, the Doomslayer speaks a single word.
Tell me, have you nothing to say to your creator before you strike him down?
How can this moment be so simple, yet so perfect? The music, lore, and just sheer build-up of this fight, in addition to the fun combat, makes it a fantastic boss battle. Though I can fully understand why people wouldn't like this fight, I personally find it a suitably badass final encounter for the franchise, and a worthy number 3 boss on this list. Number 2, the Cyber Demon, from Doom 2016. If you want a pure 1v1 brawl with a powerful enemy, you can't get better than the very first boss in the rebooted franchise, the Cyber Demon from Doom 2016. The build up to this thing is intimidating if you read the codex entries, and it wastes no time on delivering on the hype. From the second you open the door, it's roaring in your face, and then it's right into the battle. The Cyber Demon is a projectile focused boss, like most in Doom, with notable attacks being the downward rain of rockets from the sky, or horizontal rain from the arm, and the super mega laser beam that sneakily tracks your strafing. It also jets around the arena to get in better position for projectile hell, or to run you down with a charge attack. All of these attacks provide fair tells, and can be easily outspaced by jumping around and running carefully. The boss has no shield, no weak point, it's just a matter of unloading all the ammo you have on it and watching it bleed. It certainly has health, but nothing that feels absurdly large for a boss fight. In fact, you can call it a little short. After the health bar is down, you rip out its hell energy generator and wind up in the Devil's Realm. Wait a minute, if this thing needs hell energy to live, and we're in hell... Yep, the good old Cyber Demon is back for round 2. Higher defense, quicker attack strings, and even a few new barrages, like these 3 energy waves shot from its blade arm that you need to jump over under over. He spins to face you, so you can't just run around him to avoid this attack either. Even better is when he erupts 2 walls around you and forces you to deal with the energy waves in a confined space. Yep, it's the original master of the jump rope. This clash is electrifying. The Cyber Demon really gives you a moment to breathe no matter where you are in the arena, and his variety of attacks require constant thinking to stay alive, especially because he hits very hard on ultraviolence. Through all this, you also need to maintain constant damage, especially in the second phase where he is a good bit tankier than before. This was an incredible boss battle to kick off the game's final third, and even revisiting it after Doom Eternal, the Cyber Demon stands proudly as the best boss in Doom 2016 and the best traditional boss in the entire modern franchise. What do I mean by traditional boss? Well, let's get into that now, shall we? And the number 1 boss in modern Doom is the Icon of Sin. Standing tall over the rest of the competition is a very, very tall boss. Wordplay is fun, and so is the Icon of Sin boss fight, my favourite boss in the Doom franchise. This may come as a bit of a surprise, given that this is stretching the definition of a boss by the traditional measure. It's almost more of a giant level hazard while you fight basic enemies. Note the almost. Let's break it down. The Icon stands in front of you and does its damnedest to kill you with clubbing blows, summoning fireballs or jets of fire from its hands, and of course, an endlessly respawning army of demons. In both stages of the fight, the kind of demons he spawns gets progressively stronger, a reference to Samuel Hayden's warnings in the level prior. After all, the longer the Icon of Sin is on Earth, the stronger he will become. This is a lot to deal with, but the arena is on your side. It does have levels and cover and all that good stuff, but the key is the item pickups. You have BFG ammo in both arenas, letting you use your super guns for a bit, but the real treat here are the Blood Punch pickups and especially the respawning Crucible ammo. The Crucible is a guaranteed one-hit kill on every demon without exception, except the Marauder, and that's balanced by an extremely limited ammo amount. In this fight, you have Crucible ammo constantly spawning back up, meaning any heavy demon is taking a demonic lightsaber to the face. It's a cool way to make the player feel like you are at maximum power, going up against a genuinely threatening enemy. So how do you kill it? First of all, blast off its armor. There are 8 segments to the boss: head, left chest, right chest, abs, and the upper and lower arms on both sides. Blast these pieces with everything in your arsenal and watch it fall apart before your eyes. Just be careful not to shoot already destroyed parts if you don't want to waste your ammunition. The second phase takes place on a much larger rooftop with more demons to kill and more area to run around in. The pickups remain, but now the icon has more variety of attacks, including these terrifying meteors from the sky. And now it can also move around the area around your arena to dodge your BFG shots. What a cheeky chappy. Show your appreciation by blasting his cheeks right off. That's right, the first phase revolves around blasting off its armor pieces. This phase revolves around ripping its body to shreds. An awesome way to tell what you've damaged. The sheer spectacle of dancing with this tremendous titan and feeling every bit as powerful yourself is amazing. And they actually made a boss like this work mechanically in a fun way. Kudos to id Software, they really nailed it this time. The ending with jamming the crucible blade into the icon's brain is purely badass, and Doomslayer just walks away like, what's next? The experience is tense, fun as hell, and unforgettable. The perfect way to end the game, and I'll happily rip and tear my way through this boss over and over again. And that's the list. Thank you all for joining me on this demon slaying journey. I'm glad I could finally talk about this incredible franchise and the pulse pounding bosses within. I hope I did it justice. To give you a quick difficulty breakdown, to save myself milking a second video on the franchise, I'd say my top 3 hardest bosses were the Spider Mastermind, Davoth, and the Seraphim, in ascending order, and I hope my commentary made my reasonings clear. Did you agree with my list? Let me know what you think about the bosses of Modern Doom and their quality in the comment section down below. Where do my videos go from here? Who knows? My lined up schedule has been fulfilled, so we're back into the lands of anything goes. But just know that there'll be a new video coming to you quite soon. As always, be sure to check out my community tab for updates on upcoming videos as well as polls to help decide what I should make next. Once again, thank you all for watching, and remember, rip and tear until it is done.